Let's connect with Sridhar Patra, the CMD at Nalco, to talk a little bit more about the quarterly performance. Thank you so much, Mr. Patra, for joining in. To begin with, we have seen aluminium prices as well on the rise. I just wanted to understand what the outlook is on your numbers going forward.
In the last interaction also, first I say that I pray before Lord Jagannath to shower His choicest blessings on all of us to have a healthy life and happy life ahead. This pandemic should be endemic. Now good days has come for the metal sectors, and the Q3 result has established the effort, efficiency, how it is translated into profit. And at present, the price is hovering around 3,250. Market analysis predict the price may touch up to $4,000. And some analysis are of the prediction that Q1 of 22 January, February, March will have an average price of around 3,000 plus minus 5%. So this is a good price for all the aluminum industry. And everybody knows that price beyond 2,600, 700, it is a temporary surge in the market. So we are quite hopeful. Now European continent, because of the winter power demand, the prices have increased. So the smelters have reduced their capacity production. And the Chinese, what they call the capital of aluminium. And there also due to COVID severity, the smelters have curtailed their production. Ukraine and Russia, that issue gives a prediction of uncertainty. And if you will analyze the Q3 and Q4 of financial year 21-22, the production is lower than the demand or consumption. So the gap is increasing. Though the supply and demand plays a role for price determination, but when the gap is widened and the production is lower than the demand, definitely it will push the price. That production lower than the demand and the uncertainty prevailing creates a short-term atmosphere, 3 to 4, 5 months, because the pot line smelter cannot be operated under switch on switch off mode. So it will take some time. So 3 to 4 months, we can predict that this good price will prevail and this financial year will give a good result, and we are quite hopeful that we will be performing well in the fourth quarter also, and we will surpass all past record with reference to profit, turnover, production, both in physical and financial parameters.
Good morning, Mr. Patra. This is Nantara. Now, there is, of course, a larger global story out there, whether it's the European energy crisis that we saw, the way aluminum prices are trending higher, hitting new all-time highs. When are you expecting all of that to stabilize? Basically, what I'm trying to get at also is the outlook that you have as far as aluminum prices go.
I, as a producer, I am not selfish. Let me make it very clear. 2,600, 700 price, we can consider it will be a stable price, because the raw material prices have gone up, and 2,600, 700 will give a fair margin, and the smelter can also sustain. But now this first quarter of calendar year 2022, we will be experiencing the price 3,000 plus minus marginally less or more.
And then that's the pricing outlook. What about the demand outlook, Mr. Patra? Because we've seen strong demand coupled with the increased aluminum prices. How is that going to reflect in the quarters to come?
If we will examine, there are two aspects. Demand increase, whether the production capacity we are having that much to produce or not. Globally, I am talking. If you see globally, the production capacity almost matches, rather it is marginally more than the demand. But the temporary aspects like Chinese COVID impacted cities, aluminum capital curtail production, and European continent they reduced that smelter production due to the pricing of high pricing of energy. And Ukraine-Russia, that temporary phenomenon shows certain production is likely to be affected. And apart from that, the logistic constraint is also likely to be furthermore. With that expectation, it is a gambling for the traders just to hold and sell and to make a forward contract with a better pricing. But 2,600 above, I have made it clear, and the demand will be there because now the production has been curtailed. But the production and demand more or less in aluminium always matches. Marginally, the production is more or the demand is more.
Okay, we've discussed pricing, we discussed demand. Now let's talk about margins. You managed to sustain the margins. If you were to see the Q3 fine print, yes, they're flattish, but it's been sustained. But if prices are going to be going up, should the viewers of ET now start factoring in margin compression going forward in the quarters to come?
The fundamental philosophy we should be aware before we go further for EBITDA margin analysis. If the product is sold as a cost plus, then we can say it is a supply demand factors. But the product is sold almost 98-99% of the global non-ferrous metal are sold based on the LME. So the Indian businessmen, they are depending upon the thermal power. Whereas in the European, they basically use the hydropower. Middle East, they use the gas power for the purpose of the smelters. So we can never compete with the globe with reference to metal production, aluminium, which is power intensive. So the EBITDA margin of Indian manufacturers depend upon two things. Scale up your production so that the fixed expenses will reduce. And Nalco, in the history of the company of last 41 years, it has operated maximum 944 pots. But this year, we put all our 960 pots into operation. And though metal was regulated, but this year we are determined to achieve our 100% capacity of production, 460,000 tons. So the overhead margin will reduce per unit. And second thing, the prices which is giving prevailing at the market, we are forgetting irrespective of the cost. Because when the prices are skyrocketing, the input suppliers are also knowing that the smelters will make effort to increase their production, and this production demand will be temporary. Their production capacity will not increase drastically.
Now, Mr. Patra, one of the reasons cited by the company for the strong performance has been strategic sourcing of power. Can you tell us more about this? Because as we all know, when it comes to aluminium value add, aluminium production, it's high intensity when it comes to the energy use, it's high intensive energy use. So what exactly is this power strategy, and what's going to be the impact on margins going forward?
This is a strategic secret you wanted to take from us. Let me make it very clear. For a 0.5 million ton of smelter, it is almost required 1,200 to 1,300 megawatt of power. The coal crisis which has happened in the country since last 4-5 months, it was acute. And we made a strategic decision that we will have a long-term sourcing of power at an affordable rate. And we have purchased power at an affordable rate with a term contracts. Earlier, the power was purchased as and when required, not a RTC, means round the clock we were not getting. We are not demanding. Whenever required, we are purchasing the power. That is called non-RTC power. That is around 770 per unit. But now we have purchased some power at a very affordable rate, so that with our coal sourcing, our plant is located to very close to the coal bearing area. We have our own MGR. So despite of logistic constraint, despite of coal crisis, we could able to produce, and the company is confident that this power procurement will continue as long as there is a prediction of market forecast that yes, this price will prevail.
Thank you so much for joining in, Mr. Patra, and giving us a view on your quarterly numbers as well as the outlook ahead.